Caring Review Print Speaking to the Blind, celebrating 40 years of audio newspaper production. Welcome to this week's edition of the Glasgow Times podcast, recorded at the Bishop Briggs Media Centre by our amazing volunteers. You can get in touch with us via Facebook, Twitter or Instagram using @QandReview. That is @CUEANDREVIEW. You can also contact us directly by emailing information@QandReview.com. That is INFORMATION or by calling 0141 772 3976. That's 0141 772 3976.
The Glasgow Times on Thursday the 6th of February 2025. From the news section. Established Glasgow pub in vibrant area listed for sale. This article has been written by Ben Waddle and it's being read by me, Corey. A well-established Glasgow pub in a vibrant area has been put up for sale. The Lockhouse / the Saffron Garden in Maryhill has been listed on the market for an asking price of £20,000. The watering hole is located at 1397 Maryhill Road. Smith and Clough Business Associates listed the boozer for sale online. They describe it as a well-established public house with a separate restaurant opportunity. They also said the bar is in a prominent roadside trading position within the vibrant area of Maryhill. Spread across 3 floors, it is described as being a well-fitted public house and a newly refurbished first-floor restaurant. The listing reads, "The Lockhouse has traded for many years in this area and is extremely well established with a good reputation and is a popular locals bar with a loyal and regular clientele. The business previously traded using the upper floor as a lounge / function suite and offering bar meals. However, our client changed it into a standalone Indian restaurant and takeaway. Our clients run the business completely by staff, and due to unforeseen staffing issues, the restaurant is currently not trading. The restaurant premises could be easily adapted to suit a variety of cuisine styles, or, alternatively, a new owner may decide to revert back to more of a traditional bar / restaurant, offering bar meals and using the upper floor for functions and overspill dining." That article was from the Glasgow Times. It was from the news section. It was written by Ben Waddle, and it was read by me, Corey. The Glasgow Times on Thursday the 6th of February 2025. From the news section. Floodlights to be installed at church in Loch Winnock as plans approved. This article has been written by Jack Thompson and it's being read by me, Corey. Plans to install a number of floodlights at the B-listed Calder United Free Church in Loch Winnock have been approved by Renfrewshire Council. Listed building consent has been granted for 6 LED lights that will illuminate the tower and front elevation of the place of worship in Church Street. This will be mounted at ground level and directed upwards at the building, which is located within the conservation area of the rural village. A report of handling by the Council's Chief Planning Officer said, "The application site is located within a residential area, with the property fronting onto a road to the northwest. The church is bound by Church Street to the northeast, residential dwellings to the west, and public open space to the east and south." In its assessment of the proposal, the local authority said the lights would not have a detrimental impact on the character or appearance of the landmark. It explained the proposed lights would be positioned on the ground, fitted to ground-mounting concrete slabs, and would illuminate the church tower and the front elevation. The 3 lights would be installed on each side of the entrance to the church at an approximate with the separation of approximately 3.7 metres. It is not considered that the proposed lights would have a detrimental impact on the historical character or appearance of the building and would have no intrusion on the historical fabric of the building. The lights will be controlled via a timer or sensor and will be operated from dusk until midnight. A document submitted with the application added. As such, the lights will be operational from 4:30 p.m. on days with the fewest hours of daylight in the year, but will come on later as hours of daylight increases. The timer will be set to switch lights off at midnight. In its official decision notice, the Council confirmed the proposal was in line with the provisions of the development plan. That article was from the Glasgow Times. It was from the news section. It was written by Jack Thompson, and it was read by me, Corey. The Glasgow Times, on Thursday the 6th of February 2025. From the news section. Glasgow Church to host festival marking milestone anniversary. This article has been written by Anne Fotheringham, and it's being read by me, Corey. One of Glasgow's oldest churches is hosting a festival of music, learning and worship to mark a milestone anniversary. It is 1,500 years since the death of St Bride of Kildare, after whom St Bride's Church in Kelvinside is named. The events will bring together leaders of the Church of Scotland and Roman Catholic Church at the iconic Scottish Episcopal Church, as part of an initiative by the St Bride's new priest, Father Peter Bradley. Father Bradley, who originally hails from Northern Ireland, said, "The anniversary of St Bride of Kildare's death is a great opportunity to gather together the Christian denominations of Glasgow in a joint celebration of her life. It gives us not just the chance to worship together, but also for all to participate in what I hope and believe will be a series of very enjoyable cultural events." The weekend starts with an ecumenical service on Saturday, February 8th at noon, and the events include a chance to learn medieval plain chant and celebrate ancient Irish music and poetry. Full details are available on the church's website. That article was from the Glasgow Times. It was from the news section. It was written by Anne Fotheringham, and it was read by me, Corey.
This is from the Glasgow Times on Friday, 7th February 2025. From the news section. Arthritis charity to launch free support group in Clydebank. An exclusive by Morgan Carmichael. Versus Arthritis has been changing people's lives for the last 8 years. From making sure those with arthritis have access to the treatments and support they need, to helping people come to terms with their diagnosis, the charity has been hailed as a lifesaver for those in Glasgow and across the UK. Now, the charity is widening its services even more by launching the Glasgow West Community Network Support Group. Completely free of charge, the group aims to help those with arthritis meet new people and find out more about what kind of support is available in a welcoming environment. Speaking to the Glasgow Times, Melissa Hanna, Regional Officer at Versus Arthritis, said, "We hope that the group will provide a safe, supportive place for those living with arthritis and other musculoskeletal conditions. We want for them to feel heard and to be able to meet with other like-minded people who understand what they're going through." The group will be run by dedicated Versus Arthritis volunteers with the support of the charity's staff, and attendees will decide what they would like to do within their sessions, whether that will be catching up over a coffee and getting peer support from other members, or taking part in activities like Boccaccia or Chai Mi. Melissa revealed that there will also be the opportunity to have guest speakers. The group will start up on February 18th and will take place on the third Tuesday of every month thereafter. It will run from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Since coming into being in 2018, the charity has been able to help people come to terms with their diagnosis and provide support when they don't know where to turn next. Melissa said, "We support a lot of people in communities who are struggling to come to terms with their diagnosis, or maybe looking to seek additional supports and don't know where to turn next. In particular, our 5-week self-management programme has provided a real lifeline for people. One of our recent participants said it helped them to understand their condition more and what was going on inside their body, as well as giving them the confidence to talk to family and friends openly about their condition for the first time since diagnosis. It also gave them the confidence to start exercising again after trying seated yoga during our sessions, which they described as life-changing. The Glasgow West Community Network Support Group will take place at the Great Western Golf, 2700 Great Western Road, Clydebank, G81 2XT. If you would like any more information about the group or joining, please email livewell@versusarthritis.org. That article was an exclusive by Morgan Carmichael. This is from the Glasgow Times on Friday 7th February 2025, from the news section. Consultation on proposed Glasgow visitor tax launches today, by Amy Miles. The former consultation for Glasgow's proposed tourist tax launches today. Glasgow is considering a 5% visitor levy on overnight accommodation, according to an announcement. The city is seeking input from residents over the next 12 weeks on how the funds should be used to support and grow the tourism sector. The consultation is open to all residents who can participate online. The proposal suggests that 3.5% of the levy would be retained by the city, while 1.5% would go back to operators to cover administrative costs. Based on the average room rate in Glasgow, this would equate to £4.29 per night, with a net income expected to be between £11.2 million and £11.4 million. Richard Bell, Deputy Council Leader, said the levy would ensure that visitors contribute to the city alongside residents. He said, "We think there is a strong case for a visitor levy, which means people who enjoy what our city has to offer but who do not pay local taxes are asked to contribute alongside citizens." Many Glaswegians will already be familiar with this sort of charge, which is very common abroad. The council has already conducted informal consultations with stakeholders from the hotel and hospitality industry to develop the proposals. A final decision will be made by councillors later this year, with a report on the consultation findings forming a key part of the information considered. The earliest the levy could be implemented is 2027, as national legislation requires local authorities to observe an 18-month implementation period. There are limited exemptions proposed, meaning people using overnight accommodation due to circumstances such as homelessness, domestic abuse, and claiming asylum would not pay the levy. People receiving specific disability benefits would initially pay the levy but be reimbursed. Richard acknowledged that there would be a range of views on the potential introduction of a levy, particularly on how the money raised should be used. That is exactly why consultation is such an important part of this process. However, it is also important to recognise that the Council has already carried out significant additional engagement with the trade and other stakeholders, which has shaped the current proposals. The Council hopes the levy will provide a significant boost to the city's tourism sector, while also delivering benefits for local communities and citizens. That article is by Amy Miles. This is from the Glasgow Times on Friday, 7th February 2025, from the News section. Council approves potential forced sale of Glasgow's Egyptian halls, by Mark McDougall. Glasgow City Council will look into the use of a compulsory purchase order to acquire the Egyptian halls on Union Street. A CPO is a legal tool which allows local authorities to support development by purchasing a private property for its own use or to facilitate development by another party. The Council must determine if there are other interested parties, as well as considering any proposals which owners could have, but a Council committee has agreed to investigate the potential use of one. A CPO would transfer the property to a party that has come forward with a viable plan for the future of the halls, which have been vacant and derelict on the upper floors for more than 30 years. The building has been on the National Buildings at Risk Register since 1990, and scaffolding has been in place for 15 years, but is not being used to facilitate repairs and is described as an environmental, social and economic blight. The potential CPO could secure the future of the halls, which is part of Alexander Greek Thomson's architectural legacy in Glasgow. The building is located in a prominent site, and the Council says it has engaged in discussions surrounding the condition in recent years, but to no avail. The current owners of the building have submitted no planning permission applications since 2012, and recent engineering reports have shown a continued decline in the building. Councillor Rory Kelly, convener for Built Heritage and Development at Glasgow City Council, said, "This decision can be a huge step forward for the future of the Egyptian halls, helping return this fantastic building to its rightful place as an architectural treasure of national significance. Compulsory purchase orders can be lengthy and complex legal processes, but this decision gives the Council the approval we need to explore how we can use these powers to acquire the halls and put it on the path to restoration and a full and proper use. I'm sure Glaswegians will want to see such an integral part of this city's built heritage play a role in its future." That article is by Mark McDougall.
From the Glasgow Times, Saturday the 8th of February, from the news section. Car deliberately set on fire in Glasgow's East End, by Esder Tarnay. A car was deliberately set on fire in Glasgow's East End. Police are asking the public for information about the incident, which took place around 10 p.m. on Friday, February the 7th, 2025. Cops received reports after a silver Vauxhall Corsa was set on fire in Dobson Street, Easterhouse. Detective Constable Stevie Martin said, "Our inquiries are ongoing, and we are appealing to anyone who may have witnessed this incident or who has any information which could assist to contact us. I would also ask anyone who was in the area at the time and who has private CCTV or dashcam footage to get in touch." Report by Esder Tarnay. From the Glasgow Times, Saturday the 8th of February, from the news section. Cop repeatedly hit hydro fan while holding handcuffs. Report by Connor Gordon. A police officer who repeatedly punched a country music fan while on duty has been ordered to do unpaid work. Craig Simpson, 35, lashed out at Mark Pettigrew after the 30-year-old was asked to leave a gig at Glasgow's Hydro on March 11th, 2023. PC Simpson struck after Mr Pettigrew broke free from a colleague following being restrained. He hit Mr Pettigrew at least 4 times to the head, which caused swelling to his nose. Simpson's 10-year police career is now at threat after he pleaded guilty at Glasgow Sheriff Court to the assaulting of Mr Pettigrew to injury. Simpson was told to do 180 hours of unpaid work and ordered to pay Mr Pettigrew £550 in compensation at yesterday's sentencing. Sheriff Vincent Lunny said, "The footage of the incident is quite shocking. This was completely unprovoked in all the circumstances, taking into account that you were the victim of an assault by another person in the previous November. You were a police officer on duty in uniform and the victim was in custody who managed to break free. He was outnumbered by you and your colleague 2-1 and you struck him with handcuffs and your fist, which is an aggravating factor. This is not a trivial matter, and it is terrible that an unblemished career has come to an end, and I take no pleasure in sentencing you. Custody would be justified, but you had an unblemished record, and this was obviously a one-off situation." The court heard that Mr Pettigrew had been at the Hydro Arena that night attending a country music festival. He was escorted from the venue after an incident with staff. Simpson noticed Mr Pettigrew running from the security and followed him in a police car. Prosecutor Lauren Donnelly told the court that Mr Pettigrew went onto the bonnet of the motor. He then demanded to know why he was being pursued. Simpson and a colleague took hold of Mr Pettigrew and restrained him before he was put in a police van. Mr Pettigrew later stated to Simpson's colleagues during the journey to the station that he had been punched in the face by an officer. When he arrived, he said, "A police officer attacked me. One of your staff attacked me." Simpson later submitted a use of force form on March 12, 2023, stating that Mr Pettigrew had been extremely aggressive. The officer claimed that Pettigrew had broke free and raised his hand towards him. Simpson stated that he delivered an open hand strike to Mr Pettigrew's face to disorientate him to apply handcuffs. A sergeant told Simpson on March 21st, 2023, that a complaint had been sent by Mr Pettigrew regarding an alleged assault. CCTV of the incident was being reviewed. It was found Mr Pettigrew had dropped himself to the bonnet of the police vehicle before the officers assisted him to his feet and took hold of him. Miss Donnelly said, "Pettigrew turned his head and engaged with Simpson, who appeared to look around. Pettigrew broke free from the grasp of Simpson's colleague and turned to face Simpson. Simpson, who was holding his handcuffs, repeatedly struck and punched Pettigrew to the head." A statement of opinion from fellow officer Brian Higgins said that due to Mr Pettigrew's arm being raised, the initial push to the face was justified. However, he went on to state, the subsequent strikes, especially holding handcuffs, causing Pettigrew to cover up and fall by 2 punches after this, were not justified. They were not proportionate, regardless of contact or not. The matter was then reported on May the 8th last year. Miss Donnelly stated that 30 police officers had been cited for the case before it went to a guilty plea. Paul Anderson, defending, told the sentencing that Simpson had been seriously attacked on duty on the previous November by a man. He didn't take time off work in the aftermath of the attack. It is positioned that Mr. Pettigrew put his hands up and there was a perceived threat. He has had an unblemished career for 10 years, which will now be destroyed in 10 seconds. As a consequence, his career will be over and he is presently suspended. He is seeking alternative employment, which is proving difficult. And the article was written by Connor Gordon. From the Glasgow Times, Saturday the 8th of February 2025, from the news section, exclusive. Glasgow community rallies to stop post office closure, by Esther Tarnay. A Glasgow group is fighting to keep a vital post office in a forgotten area. Locals have launched a campaign to hold onto the office at Springburn Shopping Centre, which is the only one in the area for several much needed services. Crucially, the site is a Crown Post Office, which means users can renew their passports and driving licences, apply for blue badges and more. Emma Porter, Spirit of Springburn Vice Chair, said, "Firstly, it's banking. We don't have a single bank here at all. We used to have 4, but they all recently closed down. And when they did, the post office was the place that companies said people should go to access banking services. Springburn is a really deprived area. We have many people without IT skills who can't access online banking, and we have a lot of elderly people with disabilities who struggle to travel far distances. If this was to close, they would lose all forms of access to banking, which would be very bad." The 20-year-old explained that without this facility, residents would need to travel to the city centre to run those errands. She said because it is a poor area, a high number of people don't have identification, making this post office the only place to get a temporary document, for example, to receive a Young Scot card. To avoid losing this asset, Spirit of Springburn launched a petition which has been signed over 300 times already. Members say their area is a forgotten bit, often overlooked for redevelopment and investment. She added, "The post office is located in the middle of the shopping centre. It is one of the key placeholders, and if it were to close, the footfall would decrease dramatically. Anyone who's been there knows how long the queue is. So, not only would the loss directly affect banking, posting and services, it would have a detrimental effect on Springburn Town Centre. The worry comes after the post office revealed in November it is looking to offload 115 directly owned branches within its 11,500 network, which could see them transferred to retail partners or postmasters or potentially closed." Commenting on the campaign to save the venue, Bob Doris MSP said, "I welcome that momentum is growing to save Springburn's post office, and I commend the Spirit of Springburn for its efforts. I have raised the plight of Springburn's post office twice in the Scottish Parliament, but the reality is this is a UK decision. I have written to the UK government and urged them to halt the process underpinning the closure threat." A post office spokesperson confirmed no decision has been made on closures yet. They added, "We are not commenting on individual branches at this stage, and whether there have been expressions of interest made for a specific branch." And that report was an exclusive by Esther Tarnay. From the Glasgow Times, Saturday the 8th of February 2025, from the news section, Glasgow pupils hail game-changer iPad rollout. Children have told how iPads are making their lives easier 6 years after every P5 to S6 pupil was given one of the Apple devices each. Glasgow's distribution of the tablets to thousands of pupils was the biggest rollout in Europe at the time. St Andrews secondary head teacher John McGee described the technology as a game changer. Speaking at the Council's Education Committee, he said, "I find it an absolute game changer in terms of workload." Commenting on how it helps with marking, he said, "There is so much better ability to give feedback quickly to people," and said he loves the voice notes. St Andrews High School use app Shobi on iPads. St Andrews head girl Lucy said, "My iPad has helped me in the last 6 years of school with everything. Shobi in particular has helped me with moving on to my hires." She said it is useful to take pictures of work and teachers can give instant feedback and leave voice messages. S6 pupil Farah said it is an easy way to communicate with teachers and there are many different ways to receive feedback. She said it saves arguments over her mum's laptop with her sister while doing homework or studying. Lindsay Murray, head teacher of Langfalls Primary, said the iPad deployment had been successful at her school in Drumchapel. A council paper presented to the committee said, by equipping every pupil with the same iPad, barriers to learning caused by socio-economic differences are minimised, enabling greater access to educational opportunities, regardless of background. And the author of that article is unattributed, and it was read by me, Ian McKenna. From the Glasgow Times, Saturday the 8th of February, from the news section. Knife thug facing life sentence for death. Report by Grant McCabe. A knife thug is facing a life sentence for stabbing a man to death. Christopher Lynch attacked Stuart Williams, 50, at a property in Glasgow's Toll Cross on June 25, 2023. The 56-year-old had claimed he had been acting in self-defence during a struggle with Mr Williams, but Lynch was yesterday convicted of murder following a trial at the High Court in Glasgow. A judge said he had a prolific criminal past, including offences for offensive weapons. Lynch was remanded in custody and will learn the minimum he will spend behind bars when he returns to the dock next month. Witness Robert Kerr told jurors he knew both men. He said he had got on so with Lynch, adding the victim used to bump his gums about the thug all the time. Mr Kerr lived in the same block where Mr Williams' mother had stayed. He recalled being at home on the day of the murder when he went to his door and all hell broke loose. The door was then ajar when he suddenly got a big worker's glove in the face. Mr Kerr said, "I got the fright of my life. I was not expecting that." He said the masked assailant told him, "Shut your F, ing, mouth, or you will get it and all." The witness stated that the person, said to be Lynch, was armed with a tool and a half, described as having a 6 to 7 inch blade. Mr Kerr told prosecutor John McPherson he was ordered into his living room where he sat like a wee mouse. Mr Kerr said it felt like he was there all day and night before the attacker bounced up out of his flat. The witness said he then got a glimpse of Mr Williams out on the landing. He described initially hearing mumbling before what he said was a groan. Mr Kerr said, "I presume the groaning was Stuart because he is not here anymore." Mr Kerr recalled getting his jacket and away from the scene because he was scared. But he stated he remains traumatised by what he heard, including not being able to sleep at night. In his closing speech to jurors, Mr McPherson dismissed any claims of self-defence, insisting Lynch's attack on Mr Williams was deliberate and unjustified. Lord Harrower adjourned sentencing for reports. The judge told Lynch, "You have been found guilty of murder, the most serious crime in our law. You have a list of previous convictions which is prolific. Many involve possession of a knife, but none of them for assault." And that article was written by Grant McCabe. From the Glasgow Times, Saturday the 8th of February 2025, from the news section. Man arrested after pensioner died in a car crash in Hamilton. Report by Esther Tarnay, Community and Court reporter. A man was arrested after a pensioner died in a car crash in Hamilton. Police Scotland revealed that a 35-year-old man has been arrested following an investigation into a fatal road crash on Sunday, October the 27th, 2024. Officers were called to the incident, which took place around 12:40am on Quarry Street, Hamilton. Emergency services attended and the pedestrian, James Craig, aged 70, was pronounced dead at the scene. Now the 35-year-old was arrested in connection with road traffic offences. Cops are asking for anyone with any information to contact police on 101, quoting incident 0171 of Sunday, October the 27th, 2024. We previously reported that James' family left a touching tribute to their loved one. They said, "Our beloved dad and papa was a bright light in our lives, so full of love, energy and kindness. It's hard to believe he's been taken from us far too soon. We were blessed to have him, and we know his warmth and laughter touched so many. The messages and support from family and friends have brought us comfort in this painful time, and we want to say thank you to everyone who has reached out. Your kind words mean so much as we remember the wonderful man he was and the love he brought to us all." And the article was written by Esther Tarnay and read by Ian McKenna.
From Glasgow Times, Monday the 10th of February 2025. In Scottish news, In Pictures, annual furry event takes place in Glasgow. This article was written by Amy Miles. Scotland's annual furry convention has returned to the city over the weekend. It is currently the only convention of its kind to take place in Scotland. ScotiaCon 2025 took place in Glasgow's Crowne Plaza Hotel, with this year's theme being Magical Mayhem. They first started in 2011 in Inverness, but this year was set to be their biggest yet, with 1,700 attendees. There was a cash-free casino night, an art auction, fan fiction writing panels, a rave, and even a wine and cheese reception. The furry scene first took off in the 80s with the boom of science fiction novels and comic books. However, with the internet and social media surge, the furry community gained more popularity. And this article was written by Amy Miles. From Glasgow Times, Monday the 10th of February 2025. In the news section, major retail building on Glasgow Street sold for nearly £13.8 million. This article was written by Santhya Suresh. A London-based property firm has sold a major retail building on a Glasgow street for nearly £13.8 million. Savills, on behalf of Old Park Lane Management, OPLM, sold 98 Buchanan Street and 31 Royal Exchange Square to Serviday for £13.775 million. This sale marks OPLM's exit from the Scottish market as it now focuses on central London development. 98 Buchanan Street, featuring 21,498 square feet of retail space, is fully leased to Lush as its flagship Scottish store for the next 12 years. 31 Royal Exchange Square, with 9,402 square feet, is leased to the Italian restaurant Banca di Roma for 6 more years. Ailey Levine, an associate in the Scottish investment team, said, "We were delighted to represent OPLM in this disposal, the conclusion of which follows a flurry of activity on Buchanan Street, with more than £25 million placed under offer at the end of 2024. And that article was written by Santhya Suresh. From Glasgow Times, Monday the 10th of February 2025. In Scottish news, police car chase in Glasgow investigated after footage leaks online. This article was written by Amy Miles. Traffic officers are under investigation by police standards after dashcam footage of a car chase was leaked online. The video, filmed during a pursuit through Glasgow, shows patrol cars allegedly colliding with a Range Rover. A 34-year-old man was arrested after his vehicle was damaged in the nearly 2-mile chase, which began at around 8:40 a.m. on Sunday, November 17th. The chase reportedly started when the vehicle failed to stop in Saracen Street, Possil, when signalled by officers, The Sun reports. Several police cars with blue lights flashing were involved in the pursuit, which ended on Newton Street, Charing Cross. Footage from inside one of the police cars was later shared on social media, with the Police Scotland logo clearly visible on the bonnet. The video remains online more than a month after the incident. Police Scotland have been approached for comment. And that article was written by Amy Miles. From Glasgow Times, Monday the 10th of February 2025. In the news section, Fury after school yearbook asks pupils to name biggest bitch. This article was written by Amanda Keenan. Furious parents have hit out after teachers asked pupils to fill out what they have deemed inappropriate questions for their school yearbook. School leavers at Vale of Leven Academy in West Bartonshire were told to select one of their classmates as having the best backside, pick who was most likely to be arrested, and name the year's biggest bitch. They were also asked to name a student who was most likely to go missing and nominate the prettiest girl and hottest boy. One parent told the Glasgow Times that she was shocked when her daughter showed her the questionnaire and said its tone could have a damaging impact on vulnerable teens. She said, The content of the questions were highly inappropriate and could cause lasting harm to pupils involved. This might seem like light-hearted fun to some, but these types of things encourage bullying, reinforce stereotypes, and could seriously damage someone's self-esteem or reputation. What happens if these labels stick? What if a vulnerable pupil or young person from a difficult background is branded as the biggest bitch? The potential harm could be enormous, especially when you consider local history. Caroline Glachan was murdered not far from this school, and her murderers were recently jailed. In that context, joking about who is most likely to go missing is horrifyingly insensitive. The Glasgow Times understands that a decision has now been taken by teachers to remove some of the offending material from the yearbook after concerns were raised by parents and students. A follow-up email reminding pupils to answer the questions was then sent out in error. Another parent added, "This should never have been put to students in the first place. It was a serious error of judgment on the part of the school. I still have my own yearbook from 20 years ago, and I can't imagine the pain and embarrassment of being labelled something cruel or objectifying in a document that lives on forever. If the decision was already made to delete it, then why was a reminder sent out? The questions themselves were inherently unkind and inappropriate and should never have been approved in the first place. It's astonishing that this was allowed to go ahead. My own child has refused to answer some of the content because they felt uncomfortable, and I fully support their decision. Pupils should not have to endure this kind of thoughtlessness from the very place that should be protecting and supporting them." The questions in the yearbook, which has been shared with the Glasgow Times, also ask students to select a classmate who is likely to still be working in a part-time job, the biggest flirt, who is an underrated hottie, and the biggest crybaby, along with who the biggest blonde is. A spokesperson for West Dunbartonshire Council apologised for any offence caused. They added, "This section of the student-led yearbook does not reflect or support our school values, and a decision was taken 2 weeks ago to remove it. We are sorry for any upset or offence this may have caused to our families." And that article was written by Amanda Keenan.
From the Glasgow Times, Monday the 10th of February, from the lifestyle section, Oasis fans' dreams crushed as Ticketmaster cancels gig tickets, by Amy Miles. Oasis fans have been left heartbroken following Ticketmaster's cancellation of gig tickets, claiming the buyers are bots. The Manchester band previously warned of thousands of fake tour tickets being sold ahead of their 2025 reunion gigs. The band will be playing in Edinburgh's Murrayfield Stadium, the only Scottish venue they are performing at, in August. Fans had already faced issues with the dynamic pricing of the tour, which saw ticket prices increase based on demand. Ticketmaster was criticised at the time for this pricing strategy, with brothers Noel and Liam Gallagher also voicing their disapproval. The Sun reported that some fans have received emails from Ticketmaster cancelling their tickets and accusing them of being illegal purchasers. The message stated that Ticketmaster identified that bots were used to make this purchase. Fans were then urged to fill out a form to resolve the dispute for entry to the shows, which begin in July. Leah Conroy expressed her frustration to ITV, saying, "To say that we're bots is totally out of order for Ticketmaster because we tried all day to get the tickets. Our heads have been pretty battered these past 24 hours. I felt sick in the stomach. It's a band you'll never experience or see again, and it's been on my bucket list for years." She also highlighted the financial impact of the purchase, stating that the ticket, accommodation and travel for the gig had amounted to around £400. Ticketmaster spokesperson told ITV, "Anyone who has been contacted and believes a refund was made in error has been sent a form to fill in for the tour's promoters to review." The band had announced last year that they were reuniting for a series of dates in London, Dublin, Edinburgh, Cardiff and Manchester, for the first time since breaking up backstage at France's Rock Insane Festival in 2009. The previous sale had already caused controversy, as many fans were shocked by standard tickets for the reunion tour price more than doubling from £148 to £355 in Ticketmaster. This prompted the government and the UK's competition watchdog to pledge they would look into the use of dynamic pricing. The band then hit back and told fans in a statement, "Oasis leave decisions on ticketing and pricing entirely to their promoters and management, and, at no time had any awareness that dynamic pricing was going to be used. They said there were discussions aimed to help keep general ticket prices down as well as reducing touting, but the execution of the plan failed to meet expectations. And that article was written by Amy Miles. From the Glasgow Times, Monday the 10th of February 2025, from the lifestyle section. Popular US comedian coming to Glasgow as part of UK tour, by Amy Miles. Chelsea Handler has announced her new stand-up comedy tour, Chelsea Handler, Abroad, will be coming to Glasgow. The comedian, television host and best-selling author will perform at the Pavilion Theatre on May 25th. Chelsea said, "I have never been more enthusiastic about finding love abroad." Tickets for the tour go on general sale on Friday, February the 14th at 10 a.m. Fans can access the pre-sale from Wednesday, February the 12th at 10 a.m. She is known for her humour and candour, which have made her a celebrated voice in entertainment and pop culture. She hosted E's top-rated show Chelsea Lately for 7 years, during which she was the only female late-night talk show host on air. She then launched her documentary series Chelsea Does and her talk show Chelsea on Netflix in 2016. She has written 6 New York Times best-selling books, 5 of which reached number 1, including 2019's Life Will Be the Death of Me. Her 7th book, a memoir in essays titled I'll Have What She's Having, will be published on February 25th. Most recently, she continued her celebrated run as host of the Critics' Choice Awards for the 3rd consecutive year. The article was written by Amy Miles and read by Ian McKenna. From the Glasgow Times, Monday the 10th of February 2025, from the lifestyle section. Renowned brass band set to perform for cancer charity in Glasgow, by Amy Miles. A famous brass band is set to perform in support of Beatson Cancer Charity in Glasgow's south side. The Cooperation Band will be playing on February the 15th at Sherbrooke Moss Park Parish Church. Romantic Brass concert featuring transcriptions by John Wallace CBE will begin at 7:30pm. This concert aims to raise funds for the Beatson Cancer Charity, which provides support to those affected by cancer. For those unable to attend, donations can be made online at justgiving.com/page/cooperationband2025. That's JUST.COOPERATIONBand2025. Attendees can enjoy a night of exquisite music while contributing to a significant cause. Organisers encourage the public to bring along friends and family for the evening. The concert promises a stunning musical journey filled with passion and elegance, according to its organisers. And that report was written by Amy Miles. From the Glasgow Times, Monday the 10th of February, from the lifestyle section. Strictly's Chris McCausland was broken during dance training, by Katie Collier, SEO journalist. Comedian Chris McCausland has said he can understand why some people have struggled when competing on Strictly Come Dancing. He added that he can understand how a clash could happen when contestants and professional dancers have different objectives. McCausland added that he was broken during training days that were 15 hours long as he got towards the end of the dancing competition. The stand-up, 47, became the first blind person to win the popular BBC One dancing competition in 2024, alongside professional Australian dancer Diane Buswell. Ahead of the series, the show was embroiled in controversy as the corporation conducted a review into complaints made by actress Amanda Abington about the teaching methods used by her dance partner, Giovanni Pernice, when they competed together in 2023. Abington claimed she was subjected to a toxic environment and inappropriate, mean, nasty bullying behaviour during her time on the show, but Italian dancer Pernice rejected any suggestion of abusive or threatening behaviour. He later welcomed the conclusion of a BBC review which upheld some, but not all, of the complaints made by the actress against him. There were no findings relating to physical aggression, but complaints of verbal bullying and harassment were upheld, the PA news agency understands. Discussing the situation, McCausland told the Sunday Times magazine, "I understand the idea of feeling emotionally pressured because you've all got different objectives. Some people's objective might be to survive another week, whereas, from the dancer's point of view, the objective is to succeed because that's their profession. That's what their reputation is based on. I can see that there can be a clash." The comedian added that he can see how people have struggled with it in the past because you've got to be tough. McCausland said when he was getting towards the end of the competition, he was doing 15-hour days, leaving him broken. He added, "I mean, it was relentless. Physically I ached. I had lost weight. I'm probably fitter than I've been in ages, but I was held together with tape at the end." McCausland is currently on a mammoth stand-up tour, which he had to add a host of dates to after his Strictly win, due to phenomenal demand. Despite doing multiple performances in a day on occasion, he said the tour is easy by comparison as he is not doing 8 hours of dancing. The comedian, who lost his sight completely by the age of 22, won praise from the judges and the public for changing perceptions of what people think the blind community was capable of doing after he completed lifts and intricate routines on the show. He said his time in Strictly has helped him open up because he had to be so vulnerable. The comedian is now writing a memoir in his first major project since the successful Strictly Come Dancing stint. "I've always been very closed off. I've always hidden emotions under the carpet. Pull up your pants and get on with it. Strictly certainly opened me up," he said. "If I tried to write this book a year ago, I'd have been a lot less willing to explore emotion and feeling. I feel very comfortable with the vulnerability because the last 4 months have been so vulnerable." McCausland continues his Yonks tour with dates scheduled throughout the rest of the year and into 2026. In an article written by Katie Collier and read by Ian McKenna. From the Glasgow Times, Monday the 10th of February 2025. From the opinion section, Glasgow's budget must begin to rebuild trust in local services, by John Molyneux, columnist. In just under a fortnight, Glasgow City Council sets its budget for 2025-26. For my first time as a councillor, the background is one of increased public investment. The increase, not cut, ignore Labour lies, coming to Glasgow is modest, but it is welcome. Rachel Reeves stealing some of it back to subsidise English public services is far less welcome, but that's a whole other column to be written. However, one slightly better budget cannot fix the many problems we face from years of underfunding. Austerity has been a double whammy for councils. It has meant less money coming in, while demand for our services has soared. That's unsustainable, and it's largely why people's trust in council services has fallen in recent times. Our Green Budget will start to meet this head on. We will use the extra money coming in to support frontline services. That will mean no more teacher cuts. Teacher numbers will start to return to 2023 levels. If Labour's budget had passed last year, 200 jobs will still face the axe. We will give extra help to core environmental services like parks, street cleaning and refuse collection. That could help to end the bin chaos that comes after every Christmas. As I write this, there are flats in my ward which still haven't had a blue bin collection in 2025. We will also look to fund our social work teams fairly. They are dealing with the most acute service pressures in areas like homelessness. As well as supporting our most valued services right now, we must also have an eye on the longer term. We need to think much more as a council, and across society, about how we prevent future cost challenges, including those posed by our changing climate, and use the funds we do have more fairly and equally. We all know that heavy rain now in Glasgow means blocked gullies, flooded roads and pavements, and faster deterioration of road surfaces and road lining. But we could choose to invest in natural solutions like trees, rain gardens, and greener streets, which will help us to cope better and cut future costs. Similarly, investing more in locally owned renewable energy can help to protect us from future energy shocks, as well as cutting carbon emissions. This is a win-win. Lastly, Greens also want Glasgow to take more control of its own finances. We have driven forward work on a tourist tax which could drain millions to benefit Glaswegians. But we should use more of the fundraising powers we have. For instance, a business parking levy could raise the cash we need to make buses better, faster and cheaper for everyone. There's also lots we can do to strengthen enforcement of illegal parking, littering and other nuisances. To raise money, yes, but also to challenge and change those negative and costly behaviours. Greens believe that this budget must begin to rebuild trust in frontline services, cut carbon to cut long-term costs, and give Glasgow greater financial freedom. I hope that other parties will meet us in rising to that challenge. And that column was written by John Molyneux. From the Glasgow Times, Monday the 10th of February 2025, from the opinion section. Older people in financial hardship can get a free benefits check. By Mike Daly. Department of Work and Pensions, DWP, figures suggest that almost 2 million people of pensionable age in the UK are living in poverty. Based on population, that would represent 164,000 Scots. State pensionable age is presently 66 for men and women, but is rising next year to 67 for people born on or after April 1960, and to 68 from 2044 for people born or after April 1977. For Scotland, that's an estimated £230 million of pension credit, PC, and help with housing costs going unclaimed every year. In February 2024, there were 1.4 million people receiving PC in the UK. Some 2/3 of people receiving PC were women. There were 11,000 fewer claimants compared to the previous year. A long-term downward trend in PC claims has been due to the raising of the state pension age. Almost 1 million people in the UK are eligible for PC but don't claim it. The DWP report reasons that why older people don't claim PC or housing benefit are a lack of awareness, not having help to make a claim, an assumption they wouldn't qualify, not knowing how to claim, concern the process will be complicated, reluctance to provide personal information, and negative attitudes about asking for help. On average, many people of pensionable age may be missing out on £41 in PC and £65 in housing benefit each week. Increasing household income at a time when most living costs continue to rise can make a real difference to quality of life. The best thing to do is contact a free local advice service for a welfare benefits check. Local authorities employ money advisors and welfare rights officers who can do a check for a household. Alternatively, free help may be obtained through an independent money advice agency, CABX or Community Law Centre undertaking money advice. If you live in Glasgow, help is available through the GAIN network at www.gainforyou.org.uk. That's www.gain4you.org.uk. Rising costs of things like food, energy and rent generally exceed the Consumer Prices Index rate of inflation, CPI. For September 2024, CPI was 1.7%, which is the rate by which inflation-linked benefits and tax credits will increase from April. It's expected gas and electricity costs will rise by 5 to 6% this April. Average social rent increases in Scotland in 2024-25 were 6% and continue to rise. The state pension will rise by 4.1% under the triple lock promise in April. There are other social security entitlements. Pension age disability payment, PADP, can provide extra money if you have care needs because of a disability or long-term health condition and have reached state pension age. PADP is replacing attendance allowance in Scotland from April 22nd, 2025. You don't need to do anything if you already get attendance allowance. At present, you would claim to the DWP for attendance allowance in Glasgow. This benefit is paid at 2 rates. The amount you get depends on care needs. The lower rate is £72.65 a week. It's for people who need help or supervision during the day or night. The higher rate is £108.55 a week. It's for people who need help or supervision during the day and night. PADP isn't means tested. Income and savings aren't taken into account. Various other benefits may be available, in part, such as carers allowance. In an article written by Mike Daly and read by Ian McKenna.
From the Glasgow Times on Tuesday, the 11th of February 2025. From the news section. Delighted. School becomes first in Glasgow to win UK award. And this article was written by Anne Fotheringham. Young leaders at a Glasgow primary have put their school on the map after scooping a national award. Pupils at St Charles Primary in the West End also won a special mention for their digital skills from inspectors following a recent visit. The school became the first in Glasgow and only one of a handful in Scotland to win a Leader in Me Lighthouse Award. The programme, run by Franklin Covey Education, encourages pupils to build resilience and leadership skills through the 7 Habits model. Erin Keane, 11, and Vivian Adil, 11, who are in Primary 7, and Primary 6 pupils, Abigail Ellis, 10, Romy Doon, 10, and Elliot Conway, 11, agree the programme has been interesting. The 7 habits are to be proactive, begin with the end in mind, put first things first, think win-win, seek first to understand, then to be understood, synergise and sharpen the saw, they rhyme off. Erin adds, sharpen the saw means just get exercise, be active, so your own mind and body stay sharp like a saw. Vivian explains, synergise means work together as a group. These are good things for us at school, but also just generally in life, especially for me and Erin as we're going to high school and they will help us there too. Elaine Ross, head teacher, said, we're delighted. We have seen amazing results from implementing the Leader in Me model at our school. Children are settled, calm, engage positively in school and understand how the school helps them to improve their confidence and resilience. She added, we have noticed a marked increase in pupil engagement in school life, from leading areas of school improvement to running lunchtime clubs, sharing their expertise with other pupils. After hearing about school staff attending conferences, the Pupil Council decided to organise one of their own for pupil leaders and invited 40 children from schools across the city. St Charles Primary also received a positive inspection report from Education Scotland recently, with its digital learning achievements, including the use of digital journals for all pupils, highlighted as particularly good practice. Staff have embedded digital technology across the curriculum and used it creatively to enhance children's learning, the inspectors noted, adding that pupils at St Charles are highly skilled when using a range of technologies and apply these skills in a wide range of contexts. The report continued, all teachers incorporate digital technologies in daily learning and teaching. This has led to increased motivation and engagement in learning, as well as making the curriculum more accessible for children who have barriers to their learning. Vivian Adil, 11, and Erin Keane, 11, who are both in Primary 7, run the school's AI Lunch Club, which helped create impressive digital backdrops for the Christmas nativity play. We got some pupils together in the library and used a web program called Microsoft Designer to show designs of what we thought we'd like look when we were older, says Vivian. We also made a trailer for the nativity. Romy says, we used PowerPoints to show parents and carers what we have been learning to help them understand. We don't really use pens and paper anymore because we don't need to, because we have these skills. Some parents don't really understand that, so we help to show them. Abigail says, we also understand internet safety is important. We learn about the good and the bad sides of social media. It can be good and bad at the same time. And that article was by Anne Fotheringham. From the Glasgow Times on Tuesday, February the 11th, 2025. From the news section. Stolen car found months after disappearance in Glasgow. And this article was written by Amy Miles. Police have found a stolen car months after it was first reported missing. Glasgow violence reduction officers came across the Audi A4 while carrying out patrols in Maryhill on February the 1st. The theft was initially reported in November. The vehicle has been seized and inquiries are ongoing. Police Scotland Greater Glasgow said on X, on Saturday, February the 1st, Glasgow Violence Reduction Unit officers were carrying out proactive patrols when they observed this Audi A4 in the Maryhill area. Inquiries revealed this vehicle was reported stolen in November 2024. The vehicle was seized for further inquiries. And that article was by Amy Miles, read by me, Caroline. From the Glasgow Times on Tuesday, February the 11th, 2025, from the Lifestyle section. North Lanarkshire Theme Park to host Messy Play event for ASN children. And this article was written by Sanya Suresh. A North Lanarkshire theme park will host a Messy Play event for children with additional support needs, ASN. M&D Scotland's theme park will hold a Messy Play event for ASN children and their siblings on Sunday, February the 23rd. The event will run from 9:30am until 11am. Tickets can be purchased at https://tinyrl.com/BDD49BWY. A Makaton teacher will introduce the event using signs, symbols and speech to assist those with communication difficulties. Messy Play activities will include Play-Doh and shape cutters, water activities, bubbles and arts and crafts. Participants will also receive a light breakfast and entry into the Crazy Congo soft play area. Jensen Taylor Connolly, Director of M&D Scotland Theme Park, said, "We've been working closely with ASN families who struggle to find many activities at the right time in the day that support their needs. We're planning to introduce more events throughout the year." That article was by Sanya Suresh. From the Glasgow Times on Tuesday, the 11th of February 2025. From the Lifestyle section. 2 new Glasgow restaurants receive Michelin Award, and this article was written by Amy Miles. 2 Glasgow restaurants have been newly awarded a Michelin Bib Gourmand. The Michelin Guide ceremony for Great Britain and Ireland was in Glasgow last night announcing this year's stars and other awards. The event was held in the city's West End in the Kelvin Grove Art Gallery and Museum. Margot and Gaga have both been recognised for offering outstanding food at great prices. Margot, a sister restaurant to Ox and Finch and Kapow, is known for its lively atmosphere and flavour-packed dishes. It is popular for its sharing plates that blend Mediterranean cooking with Scottish produce. Margot also features Zeb's, a cocktail bar with wood-fired grilling. Gaga, located in Partick, is owned by chef Julie Swee Lynn. After closing Julie's Cutopium in the south side of the city, Lynn moved to the larger premises in Partick. The restaurant uniquely features two different settings, one side a former butcher shop with original tiles, and the other a more rustic look with colourful pot plants. Gaga is known for its Malaysian-inspired dishes, particularly the fried chicken with Sichuan hot sauce and orange zest. Both Margot and Gaga were among the 36 restaurants across the UK and Ireland to receive the Bib Gourmand this year. The Michelin Guide's Bib Gourmand distinction recognises restaurants for their excellent food at reasonable prices. This year, the guide highlighted the wealth of restaurants committed to providing affordable, high-quality cooking. And that article was by Amy Miles.
This is from the Glasgow Times on the 12th of February 2025 from the news section, and the headline reads, "Concerns raised as pavement parking ban yet to be enforced." This article is by Emily Moore. A group of disability advocates have raised concerns about pavement parking regulations as Western Bartonshire Council is yet to put the ban in place. Members of a disability action group, part of Clydebank charity Improving Lives, say they are apprehensive about a ban which would fine drivers up to £100 for parking on pathways and pavements, as an implementation date is yet to be set. Alana Temple, from Dumbarton, regularly attends events at Improving Lives with her husband Craig. She is an ambulatory wheelchair user, meaning sometimes she uses her wheelchair and other times she uses a walking aid. Alana says she doesn't have much hope in the parking ban being effective, citing issues such as current parking provisions and the amount of parking attendants a ban would require. She said, "It gives me a lot of anxiety about going out anywhere, because I always wonder, even if we can find a place to park, get my wheelchair out and get onto the pavement to try and go where we need to go, will the drop curb even be accessible? It's already difficult finding parking, especially for a disabled person who needs a much bigger space. So when they introduce this rule, it might limit parking options even more so, then make parking more difficult to find. That's going to cause a lot of animosity towards each other, and I already feel that there isn't really enough disabled parking to begin with. And it feels almost as though the disabled community are having to fight amongst ourselves for the small provisions that we're given. I don't have much hope about the council being able to enforce this." Western Bartonshire Council were given the power to fine drivers for pavement parking last year, following the Scottish Government's announcement on enforcing the ban in December 2023. However, councillors have yet to agree on a date of implementation, as arrangements as to how the programme will work are still to be set. Craig Temple says he doesn't believe that the residents will adhere to the ban when it is set in place. Speaking to the Glasgow Times, he said, "It feels like when changes get implemented, it's more from the perspective of parents with small children, with buggies and prams. Disabled people are a secondary thought. The pavements are not the greatest, and there's some pavements that are very limited for space. When you take that very limited space and then have a car parked on it, even if it's just two wheels, you end up having to go off pavement and onto the roads. And if my wife was on her own in the wheelchair, she's not getting down off the road. We use a car, so we know what it's like trying to get parked. The problem is that there isn't enough parking. Not everybody parking on the street is doing it because it's convenient. They're doing it because it's the only option. It is believed that the pavement parking ban has been introduced by more than a quarter of the local authorities in Scotland. Edinburgh City Council were the first local authority to enforce the ban in January 2024, and more recently Glasgow City Council introduced theirs last month. Jackie Millen says she understands why drivers can be frustrated by the ban, but she is concerned for her friends who are visually impaired. She said, "I have visually impaired friends and the guide dog is trained in a certain way for the safety of its owner. When it sees a parked car on the pavement, the dog has to take its owner off of the pavement onto the road, which they're not trained for, and then back onto the pavement again to pass the car. I do see it from the two sides because there are so many cars on the road that nowadays parking is a nightmare. If the provisions are not there for the drivers, then they'll just be desperate and just go on the pavement. I think drivers are feeling victimised now because they're getting fined for this, fined for that. If people could see the money was going to good things, maybe they wouldn't see it as so bad, but when they can't see anything from their money, that's when they become angry." A Western Berkshire Council spokesperson said, "As advised earlier this year, we are currently programming the implementation of decriminalised parking enforcement. Elected members will then consider implementing pavement parking restrictions and enforcing them. Residents will be kept informed." This article was by Emily Moore. This is in the Glasgow Times on the 12th of February 2025 from the news section, and the headline reads, "Girl, 10, rushed to hospital after being hit by car in Glasgow." This article was by Amy Miles. A 10-year-old girl was hit by a car in Glasgow yesterday evening. The police got a report of an incident between a pedestrian and a car at around 6:15 p.m. on Dunkenny Road in Drumchapel. Emergency services attended the scene, and a young girl was sent to the Queen Elizabeth University Hospital for treatment. A Police Scotland spokesperson said, "Around 6:15 p.m. on Tuesday, 11th of February 2025, we received a report of a crash involving a car and a pedestrian on Dunkenny Road, Glasgow. Emergency services attended, and the pedestrian, a 10-year-old girl, was taken to Queen Elizabeth University Hospital for treatment." This article was by Amy Miles. This is from the Glasgow Times on the 12th of February 2025 from the news section, and the headline reads, "Glasgow Auction House defends sale of Nazi memorabilia." This article was by Jodie Harrison. A Glasgow auction house has defended its sale of Nazi memorabilia on the grounds of its historical importance. McTeer's Auctioneers in the city's south side has included a number of historical items from the Third Reich in its Militaria auction, being held on Wednesday morning. Among the items for sale are paper bunting bearing the swastika emblem, an SS-type dress dagger, and a set of silverware purportedly owned by high-profile Nazi Hermann Göring, said to have been taken from his personal train dining car. Another item for sale, an Iron Cross medal, includes an official button pin from the Nazi Party. In total, 9 items among the catalogue of military medals, weapons and paraphernalia relate to the Third Reich. It is not illegal to sell Nazi memorabilia in the UK, although it is banned in some countries in Europe, particularly Germany and Austria. In 2019, a Belfast auction house cancelled the planned sale of similar items due to sensitivities. Swastika emblazoned tableware from Nazi Germany was expected to sell for about £20,000 when bidding opened at Bloomfield Auctions, but the items, reportedly produced for Adolf Hitler's 50th birthday, were withdrawn following complaints. Bloomfield Auctions Managing Director Carl Bennett said they would not sell similar items in the future. In 2021, Lyndhurst Antiques Centre apologised for selling Nazi memorabilia after a complaint from a Jewish family. Father and daughter, Ron and Sophie Carmen, said they were left speechless when they saw the items at a display case. The shop withdrew the items from sale and said it would not sell similar memorabilia in the future. Christie's, Sotheby's and Bonhams, 3 of the world's biggest auction houses, refused to trade items connected to Nazi Germany. The items in McTeer's sale were brought to our sister title The Herald's attention by one of our readers. A spokesperson for McTeer's Auctioneers said, "As the only auctioneer in Scotland to run dedicated sales of historic militaria, McTeer's has frequently consigned important artefacts from both world wars. On occasion, our auctions, like many others across the world, include items related to the Third Reich, which are always handled with sensitivity. It is important to note that these historical artefacts provide a tangible link to an important, albeit extremely dark, era in our history that should never be forgotten." This article was by Jodie Harrison. This is from the Glasgow Times on the 12th of February 2025 from the news section, and the headline reads, "Petition launched after huge festival near Glasgow cancelled." This article was by Morgan Carmichael. A petition has been launched following the cancellation of a popular festival near Glasgow. The Glasgow Times reported yesterday that the Kirkintilloch Canal Festival will not be going ahead this year due to issues with funding. Eastern Bartonshire Council, which runs the popular event, decided to withdraw funding for the event as no external funding sources could be identified. The decision was made after a council budget meeting in March last year, which was updated in December 2024. Now, Kirkintilloch residents are hitting out at the disappointing decision to cancel what they described as the heartbeat of their community spirit. Launching the petition on the Change.org platform, an accompanying statement read, "As local residents and supporters of community growth, it deeply upset us when we found that Eastern Bartonshire Council have cancelled this year's Canal Festival for 2025. The Kirkintilloch Canal Festival is not just another event, it is a heartbeat of our community spirit and a lively platform for our local businesses. Ignoring the love and potential value of this event, cancelling it is a disappointing decision that could have a detrimental impact on our community and local economy. We understand that there could be challenges in organising such a festival, but we fully believe that the economic and social benefits far outweigh these challenges. Local businesses experience a considerable increase in customer volume during the festival, providing a much needed boost, particularly for those that may be struggling to stay afloat. Not only does this festival support local businesses, it also draws tourists and cultivates a sense of unity among residents. It represents Kirkintilloch's unique charm and vibrancy, making the town more attractive for tourists, prospective residents and businesses alike. In light of these reasons, we urge Eastern Bartonshire Council to reconsider its decision and reinstate the Kirkintilloch Canal Festival for 2025. The spirit of our vibrant community, the prosperity of local businesses and the thriving tourism are entwined with this beloved event. Protect and support what makes our town special. Please sign this petition to reinstate the Kirkintilloch Canal Festival." At the time of writing, the petition has 165 signatures, with a goal of reaching 200. Anne Davey, Chief Executive of Eastern Bartonshire Council, said that the council hopes it can find the funding to deliver the festival again in the future. Anne added, "As per the budget decision made at council in March 2024, with an update in December 2024, the Kirkintilloch Canal Festival will not take place in 2025. For the festival to take place in future, external funding to cover the full costs of £120,000 would need to be secured and done so in enough time to plan its delivery. Unfortunately, external funds weren't available for 2025. While the event will not go ahead this year, we will continue working to identify relevant external funding opportunities for future years." This article was by Morgan Carmichael. This is from the Glasgow Times on the 12th of February 2025 from the news section, and the headline reads, "Thieving criminals broke into 2 homes and crashed into a wall." This article was by Tristan Stewart Robertson. A pair of joyriding, thieving criminals who broke into 2 homes and crashed into a wall have both been jailed. Sean Crotty, 22, and Scott Casey, 24, went on a spree that took them through Clydebank into Mogai and beyond last September. Both had lengthy previous convictions, and they were held on remand after they were picked up for the crime. It started at 6:15am on September 6th, when a Ring doorbell captured Crotty entering a property in Craigielee Road, Dundalk. A short time later, the homeowner's vehicle was gone. Half an hour later, east of Mulgai, a person heard smashing glass and saw two men in the driveway. They got into a white vehicle and tried to drive away, crashing into a brick wall. When the witness went outside, the men said they would pay for the damage, but drove off. They were seen driving in an erratic manner, swerving from side to side a short time later. And then they crashed headfirst into a wall. Both men got out of the vehicle. A witness asked if they were okay. "We both had a drink, what should we do?" asked one of the men. Another person stopped to assist and heard one of the men say, "We're away." The pair then made off on foot. Around 8am at a property in Dowen Road, Bardowie, the owner heard a loud smashing noise from downstairs and found Casey in the living room. There was a small rock on the floor. The pair left again and police were contacted. They were arrested a short time later and Crotty was found with cocaine. Last October, at Glasgow Sheriff Court, Crotty was jailed for 2 years for assault. In December, he pleaded guilty to stealing car keys and the vehicle and some cash therein. He admitted 2 charges of failing to stop after accidents, of being unfit to drive through drink and drugs, on a provisional licence with no insurance. He broke a curfew and had cocaine. He drove without due care and attention and collided with a fence and wall, while on 3 bail orders. Casey admitted also stealing the vehicle and breaking into the Down Road home with intent to steal. At Dumbarton Sheriff Court on February 4th, Sheriff James Spy sentenced Crotty to 30 months in prison and banned him from driving for a year. He was fined £1,300 but given no time to pay, so will serve an extra 45 days. Casey was jailed for 24 months, backdated to September 9th, and will have a 12-month supervised release order when he is eventually freed. This article was by Tristan Stewart Robertson.
That concludes this week's edition of the Glasgow Times podcast. Please remember to subscribe to our channels at View and Review and to tell your friends about our service.